All right, I'm going to start over again. Donald Trump's been saying some stuff about mentally ill people, and they've been saying that I'm mentally ill, and he's talking about locking them up with involuntary confinement, and I've been locked up in involuntary confinement, and you don't get anything in involuntary confinement, um, you know. So what he's doing is he's provoking, and so that way he's trying to elicit a response from us, but he's threatening all Americans. He's provoking and threatening us. So that's an assault. You know what I'm saying? This is just a way for these guys to lock up the most. They're gonna come after people, and if they don't like, it's a way for them to take another way for them to take the guns away from people they don't like, but a way for them to do it slowly. So that's one of the things it's for. But these courts they're talking about with this involuntary confinement, there's problems. They're not real courts. They don't have, you don't have any constitutional rights when you go there. You can't get any discovery, background. You can't get any of their witnesses or your witnesses. You can't get any evidence, or you can't use any evidence on your side. You can't look for any evidence. You can claim self-defense. You can't even use any laws. There are no laws apply in this court. Your lawyer's a joke. It's just one allegation. Sometimes they might bring another witness and say, "Oh yeah, I heard him say it," but it's just that's still not enough. Two witnesses with no background, no discovery. You can't pull up no laws. The habeas corpus is a federal, British law brought in way back then, where it says you have to bring in your prisoner within 24 hours and prove you have jurisdiction and all that. They don't abide by that. That's constitutional law. The jury trial, you don't get that. No peers, nothing like that. You don't get no interviews. There's no investigation. The judge is just a commissioner. So this is what he's talking about, and then they, but they're real violations, they want to control your mind. They give you mind control drugs, and what it is basically a re-education camp. So basically, here's what you guys are going to be getting. You guys are going to be American. You guys are going to be down here like this. Yeah, the air, and this is going to be, sorry about the light, this is going to be you guys right here. FEMA camps. But they call them re-education camps. But when I call somebody that gives me mind control drugs that disrupt your neural connectors, your brain's going like this, and it's disrupting these little connectors you have, and that mind control, and they're trying to kill your brain, I call that murder. But they're doing it to our children and our weakest of our kids. But so he said we got to do a good problem. We got to, identifying warning signs. That's what he was saying. We'll get back to that one right now, but and he wants the Department of Justice and social media to make laws. And that they'll be the experts in identifying and creating these laws on what's mental. What the signs are for some, for identifying these mass, that claim to be mass shooters from, mental illness. Well, I don't know what the reports are, but they say it's less than 1%. So they're going after a population of less than 1% of people they're saying that are mentally ill, and they want to, lock them up, but so that's directly attacking me. You know what I'm saying? Because they claim I'm mentally ill, and these drugs are super harmful to the kids and to the court. I mean, to the court, just to the kids and to adults, and for them to start locking people up without any due process. It's a big problem. So, it's It's bad. So then he goes on to talk about the glorification of violence. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'll play the clip real quick so that way, you know, you guys can see it. Because, you know.
We must make sure that those judged taken through rapid due process.
He talks about rapid due process.
That is why I have called for red flag laws, also known as extreme risk. The Department of Justice. Those who commit hate crimes and mass murders face the death penalty.
So that's what he's talking there. But right here.
To begin immediately. Culture that celebrates the inherent worth and dignity of every human life. That's what we have to do. Third, we must.
So he talks about every human life right there, and that's what we have to do. But he doesn't care about the human lives of the mentally ill. He wants to lock them up indefinitely. He doesn't care about the lives of you know, the illegal immigrants that he's claiming are trying to come across the border, and he's building a wall about them. And, you know, but I want to get back to, I want to find out where he's talking about glorifying violence.
Better identify mentally disturbed individuals. Not only make sure those people may commit acts of violence, make sure those confinement. Culture that celebrates the inherent worth and dignity of every human life. That's what we have to do. Culture that celebrates to begin immediately. Cultural change is hard, but each of us can choose to build a culture that celebrates the inherent worth and dignity to begin immediately.
So he's talking right there about glorifying violence.
Firearms and themselves with a culture that firearms.
It glorifies violence. But anyway, so this is the guy that he's saying a culture that glorifies violence. This guy goes around and calls people Rocket Man. You know, he threatens Mexicans with the, you know, if you know you're gonna pay for this wall, you know what I'm saying, with you know those are like a extortion, threats of extortion, you know, you're gonna pay. You know what I'm saying? He takes the family members away of kids from Mexico and detains them. I don't really want to get into that, but because they keep saying about this kid fucking friendly shit. You know, they're saying kid friendly, but at the same time, these guys are pushing, you know, you know, your kid can choose their gender at 6. So that's what your kid can do, or younger. But you can't tell them. You can't tell them to look out for you know what I'm saying, creeps out there. And Trump can talk about, oh, Mexicans gonna pay for their own wall. Damn brown people, but you can't tell them the truth about anything, you know, until they're old enough. But you can tell them, you know, all about transgenderism, you know what I'm saying, but or creeps. You know, you can't tell, you know, can't. They want to corrupt these children and tell us what we can and can't say. You know what I'm saying? They want to tell us. You got to get vaccines, or else we're gonna force you. Or else you're gonna spread it to the rest of the kids. That don't make no, you know. You just gotta figure that don't make no sense. These vaccines for kids, they got them already. They shouldn't get the sickness. You know what I'm saying? So they just want to push these vaccines because, you know, your taxpayers paying for the grants. You know, just like the pharmaceutical companies, we pay for the grants for the research. And then we got to pay extra for the pills because that's the way it is. They're in cahoots with the lobbyists for pharmaceutical companies that are paying these guys, presidents, congressmen, senators. Anyway, so they talk about not glorifying violence. You know what I'm saying? So they're over here in Mexico trying to build a wall, and then they got Israel with a bunch of surveillance. They've got massive surveillance, like a super you know, technical advanced surveillance system there, and they're flying their drones. And he's talking about glorifying violence when they got a war on the American people, a drug war where they're stealing all the Americans' taxpayers' dollars, up to $40,000 average a year for, somebody with, $100 worth of weed, that he probably worked for the money, or who cares how he got the money. Why would you steal, if I'm not saying that they're in jail now for an ounce of weed for 5 years, but back in the day, I don't know how long you'd get in jail, but, just say for a couple of years for jail, because that used to be the average for like a joint or something. You got a year and a half. So if you got 2 years for an ounce of weed, or you would get way more back then, but that's like almost at 40. That's like $80,000 you get to steal from the taxpayers. Plus a little court fees and stuff like that. So for $100 worth of weed, you steal $80,000 worth of real wealth, and you don't pay that much to keep them in there. So that's the real violence. And here I put the pharmaceutical wars right here because they got a war on us. They take all our money for research, and then they charge. Like I told you, they charge us, and with the vaccines, the flu vaccines, people keep taking them every year. They have to admit that the flu vaccines don't do anything for you, and they're always a year behind on the flu vaccine. So we pay for all the studies they do. They charge us way more than everybody else for these pharmaceuticals, and they're giving people psychotropics instead of these kids psychotropics instead of concentrated opiums and THC mixed together, or something that could get people off of alcohol and get people healthy. But you don't want to give kids any of that, but you definitely don't want to give them neuro disruptors. So it caused real bad fool with me, real bad nightmares and stuff, and it the nightmares were worse than anything else. So, but I was having dystonia, I think, in my neck. The doctor wouldn't take. I told him like 3 times, he didn't take me off of it. But I also had like ringing in my ears, and I lost a lot of feeling for like a long time. But it's really bad. It like drives you crazy. If you ever go to the mental like places where they're giving they're forcing these kids on these drugs. You can see how bad they are, and if you can just imagine, if you could just try to imagine that, you just got to try to imagine, just like, it's just like being, like, kind of like if you have claustrophobia, if you're just around a bunch of people, you feel suffocated. You can't, it's hard to explain. It's just not good. It's just like always, I don't know. It's just horrible. It's, just bad. And these drugs they're giving them, don't give them any drugs, just, give them a place to stay, what I'm saying? Why are you charging? They charge like $1,000 a day just to keep you there. And the access is tripping, and they're like, we don't care. We'll just get it from access anyway. That's what they told me. So I guess they just force access to pay even when the access don't want to pay. They're like, there's nothing wrong with this motherfucker. You guys just keep keeping people in there when there's nothing wrong with them. You're stealing all the access money. And I think I had the wrong phone up. I was talking to the wrong phone. I hope you guys heard it. But anyway, so then, so he's talking about glorifying violence, and, so then YouTube doesn't want us to tell kids anything about the truth about anything, but, they want to have people come in and tell them, you can choose your gender at 6, but you can't choose anything else at 6. Like, you can't learn about what creepy people look like, or you can't learn to stay away from or tell the truth, or, or tell kids about, the government might be corrupt, or, the government is telling lies and the cops are beating people up, and, the Christian Bible could be fake. You don't want to be, you don't want to be, indoctrinate them. I'm indoctrinating them, or somebody else is indoctrinating them on YouTube. No, they're telling them, free speech, trust what you want to trust. They don't want these kids learning the truth. Then they'll be like, like the rich kids, you know, they know everything, so they don't want the poor kids to know the truth. They want, you know, just that all for the people with money. But that's just my opinion, and well, I'm gonna start and stop this real quick.